I finally went and got myself a copy of this book. There's a Kindle version here. It's called On Competition by Michael Porter. He's a Harvard, I guess at the time he wrote the book, it was basically, he was a Harvard economics professor. I went ahead and got this because I strongly believe that we need to be able to take some time to understand the gaming market and the gaming industry as a result of what we've seen, lately happening. Because sometimes it appears that many people want to categorize Xbox in this place where Xbox is the only one on trial. They're basically taking the stand and getting cross-examined as to every step that they're taking, while PlayStation somewhere somehow are getting, in a sense, forgotten, ignored, or whatever it is, when in reality you have to actually look at both of them side by side to be able to make sense of what's going on in the industry in many cases, not every time. I was talking about how, an audience member basically started to ask about, I actually said that the reason Xbox is now doing more with Game Pass and delivering games everywhere is because their sales forced them to do so. And what that means is this person has now openly admitted that the market, which is basically market forces, one of the market forces, has pretty much put Xbox in the position that it is. It's an advantageous position for them because, they went ahead and bought four publishers to help them match with the changing trend in terms of gaming. When I said this strategy, this person said, "What strategy?" They became a third-party publisher. No, this is not the way forward for the gaming industry. Console gaming would have never blown up in the 80s and 90s without each platform having their own exclusives and being forced to outdo the other company. Okay, then they said this. Do you know why gaming has been so awful this generation? Zero competition. This is nonsense. Both major console manufacturers have stopped trying, and Nintendo exists in their own world. No, going third party is not the way forward for either Sony or Microsoft. Now, this is a very interesting, comment, because the fruits and the reasons third party is actually a thing with both PlayStation and Xbox, by the way, because I see a lot of people, they don't realize that PlayStation is also a third party publisher. They always say Xbox went third party, Xbox went third party, but both Xbox and PlayStation are third party. They are publishing their games on platforms that are not their own, like literally not even creating their own PC store. They're going straight to Steam, going straight to Epic Games in some cases, especially in PlayStation's case. They love Epic Games. Everything's on there. Xbox doesn't put much on it. I haven't seen anything from Xbox and Epic Games recently because I think Xbox and Epic Games, they kind of have a thing where it's like, we don't want to deal with you in this regard. But PlayStation is literally publishing its games on these two external platforms on PC, makes them a third-party publisher. Why are they third-party publishers? Well, because market forces have come in to actually sing, and now they both have to dance. Which market force exactly has come in? Well, it's basically the new entrants, the one up top here. There's what's called a threat of new entrants. This is where you now have more players in the game. Back in the so-called era that this person is citing, so let's look at this comment again. They said console gaming would never have blown up in the 80s or 90s without each platform having their own exclusives and being forced to outdo each other. This second part, they're still trying to outdo each other. But here's what's going on. We're no longer in the 80s and the 90s. I know some people want to hang on to these good old days, but we're now in 2024. 2024, the number of games that release, it's insane. Let me show you guys. Steam game releases. SteamDB has a data set that I use all the time. I just basically go there and it will show you Steam releases by year. And this chart is insane, brother. I mean, look at it. We were talking just a while ago. I was thinking that we were going to close out the year with about 18,000 games. But no. It seems like we're going to close out the year probably closer to 19,000 because there are already 17,953 games launched on Steam. Back in the 80s, and if you look at the trend of games, even back then, Steam wasn't even a thing. But just 2006, there were only 70 games launched on Steam. If we go back to even Nintendo, PlayStation, and when Xbox came into the game, we're going to even see that those numbers were probably not even as much back then. Now, yes, some franchises broke into SNES and NES, but even if they were many games at the time, right? Just think about it. Even if you had all those games back then that were already launching, and then you had the PC side growing to even maybe match or outclass all of them at some point, there is a saturation, and the new entrants into the competitive space have changed the entire game overall. So this threat of new entrants has already put a force on the whole competitive space. You can't live in the 80s and the 90s anymore in terms of gaming. So that talk about going third party it was necessary that PlayStation and Xbox go third party so that they could find more customers to buy their games. If not, the other side of the whole market too, basically with the new entrants coming in, and this is not even spoken about here in this regard, is the reality of rising costs. This is not in this particular, because this is about competitive forces. But if we think about other forces outside of this, the rising cost of making games now no longer make it sensible for you to be able to just do exclusivity unless you're like Nintendo. So when we think about PlayStation going out of its own console where it has all of the advantage in the world, and then deciding that it's going to publish its games on Steam and Epic Games, then you can already understand that there seems to be a shift somewhere. That shift is that the amount of people buying a lot of these games are just constantly drying. Then you also have this other market force that's pushing as well, which is called the threat of substitute products or services. Now, this one is actually very interesting, and I mentioned this in my other video. The threat of substitute, products and or services is one that really does make things very interesting, in the sense that take for instance, we say we had like 19,000 games all show up, right? We get it. And most of these games are going to be indie games. Some people have said, oh, they're games that people aren't going to play. Well, that's what you think. But then you think about, say, the established games that have taken basically the largest percentage of people's gaming at the end of the day, and you realize that, those games are basically like 15, 20 games. That's literally it. The games that literally suck up the most amount of gamers' times and playtime and interest and whatnot is literally a small amount in terms of, all of what you can see, all of what you can take into account. For instance, and this is a data set that Matt Piscatella puts out all the time. Matt Piscatella puts this data set all the time. So again, how would you not go third party when every of your effort that you're actually putting in place is being siphoned by these games? Even old versions of these live service games, when they show up on a new platform, make their way to the list. Look at Genshin Impact on Xbox at number 9. Now, Indiana Jones might crack this list, but it's only going to be for a while. And so PlayStation, having boxed itself, according to one of my audience members, PlayStation having boxed itself into a corner with a lot of these single player games, they'll crack the top played games, but then these other games, basically, which are platforms at this point, according to another audience member of mine, where you can basically come on here, you can play whatever you want, they stay perpetually. Tim Sweeney even said it. We're making games that people constantly play. All these big games are being made and nobody is playing them. Have you all easily forgotten? He's coming from the perspective where he's a benefactor of that. And I'm certain that he looked at the data and looked at the evidence and thought very carefully with his team how they were going to execute on a live service game that worked. They failed with Paragon. They brought out Paragon. Its audience was probably one that didn't really work, so they went younger with Fortnite. I was interviewing a colleague's, one of my colleagues. They have a kid that's in middle school. And, we're trying to get them to the point where we can build a gaming PC for them. And so I told my friend, I said, once he's ready, just hit me up. I got him covered on certain aspects. So I got the opportunity to speak with him for a little bit. And I said, yo, what's this PC that you're trying to build? And, he was like, yeah, I'm trying to build a gaming PC. I'm working on it. I've been, saving up and doing all this stuff. And so we were talking, and I asked him the exact question that anybody would ask. So what games are you going to play on there? Well, to my big surprise, they said, this kid said Fortnite and Roblox. So why is PlayStation going to look and say, if everyone's playing Fortnite and Roblox, who's going to play Spider-Man 2? Who's going to play Until Dawn? Let me tell you how old Spider-Man 2 is. The very first time, right, I saw the trailer for I said Spider-Man 2. Spider-Man, this one that was remastered. This game came out in 2018, right? We're now in 2024. That's about 6 years. Think about it. In that time, right? A lot of different games have come out, and the game, yes, it may keep selling and trickling in sales from time to time, but it's largely forgotten. It is. It's largely forgotten. However, the latest Fortnite addition, or the latest thing to jump into Fortnite, the latest Indiana Jones skin or whatever it is, that is remembered and that resonates. So again, for somebody to think that, the 80s and the 90s, they are gone. They are absolutely gone. And gaming is an entirely different framework right now. We are so thankful that at least a lot of these new live service games are not really able to crack into the space. But believe you me, some of them are still cracking that space regardless. I mean, look at what's the name of this one that just came out the other day. Top seller. Let me go to top sellers. It's Marvel Rivals. This game has gone nuts, guys. This game has gone freaking ballistic. If we go to Steam DB and look up Marvel Rivals and look at the numbers, it literally has obliterated. PlayStation is looking at this stuff and they're like, man, we got to get in here. Look at Marvel Rivals. Look at Path of Exile, right? I mean, this is what people are playing. Look at Indiana Jones compared to the others. So if you really do think that the way to come to do this gaming thing is by holding your games and then thinking you're going to compete with anybody, you will shoot yourself in the foot and your platform will just basically die if it's not getting sustained by these other games here. And these games are basically holding on. They're basically holding, these platform holders down with that 30% cut that they're giving them. That's simply it. So again, I just thought I'd show this because I think a lot of people just misconstrued as to what's going on. Look at Rivals, bro. Look at this. This is insane. Rivals has 480,000 people as its peak, and right now it's got 351,000 people playing currently on a Monday. That's wild, man. That's insane. All right. Talk to me in the comment section. Thanks for watching the video. Peace out.